Mr. Woody, Carlos, would you provide our safety and security protocols for today's meeting?
Sure, be glad to. Good afternoon, President Mills, Commissioners, and Clint. In keeping with OUC's commitment to make safety first, we began each commission meeting with a safety briefing in the event we have an emergency. We're located at 100 West Anderson Street in the commission chambers on the 7th floor. In the event we need to evacuate the building, there are 3 emergency exits located in the front, center, and rear of the commission room. You should exit through the nearest door and proceed down the hallway to the stairwell to the left or right of the commission room. Our gathering point will be to the rear of the building on the surface parking lots underneath the 408. In the event of any medical emergency or fire, AED and first aid kits are located in the sound closet to the left. Fire extinguishers are located in cabinets mounted in the wall just outside of the front and vestibule doorways. I've pre-designated primary and backup 911 callers. In the event that we have a medical emergency, I will be the CPR primary. I'll be assisted by LaShawn Neal Statham. This concludes our safety briefing.
Thank you so much, sir. Moment of reflection. Ms. Greenberg, Rebecca.
Good afternoon, President Mills, Commissioners, Clint. May is a time of reflection, appreciation, and renewal. A season that invites us to celebrate mothers, honor the sacrifices of our heroes, and advocate for mental health awareness. Named after Maya, the Roman goddess of growth, May represents strength, new beginnings, and the beauty of life in bloom. As the days grow longer and the sun shines brighter, both nature and people embrace the fresh energy of the season. In celebration of Earth Day last month, I had the privilege of joining the OUC team and Keep Orlando Beautiful to help remove 720 pounds of invasive plants from Bill Frederick Park at Turkey Lake. At first glance, it was challenging to distinguish native species fighting for survival from the invasive ones. Fortunately, we had knowledgeable guides, essential resources, and a strong community of volunteers to help us make a meaningful impact. Similarly, recognizing the signs of someone navigating mental health challenges can be difficult, even when support systems are in place. That's why fostering an environment of awareness and compassion is so important. At OUC, safety is more than a priority, it's a commitment. We proudly protect not only the physical well-being of our workforce, but also their mental and emotional health. This Mental Health Awareness Month, I honor the memory of my brother, Adam, who passed away in 2016 at the age of 36. Married, 2 small children, and a white picket fence. We never saw it coming. And as expected, it changed our family forever. Today, take a moment to check in with yourself, with your friends, and with colleagues, especially those who always seem strong. Embrace the brighter days, pause to appreciate the beauty around you, and let May serve as a gentle reminder to prioritize self-care, uplift others, and find joy in life's simple yet meaningful moments. Wishing you a safe, positive, and productive meeting. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Very, very good. At this time, I'd like to invite Kevin Sacco to come forward and lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Kevin served in the U.S. Navy for 4 years, achieving the rank of Petty Officer 3rd Class. He's worked at OUC for over 3 years, and his current title is Manager of Technology, Operations, and Support. Thank you all for standing to join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much for your service again. Time is now 2:05, and I call the May 13, 2025 Commission meeting officially now to order. I'd like to acknowledge that Mayor Dyer had a another engagement, is not in attendance today, but we do have a quorum present this afternoon to conduct business, so we will continue on. Our next item on the agenda is a consideration of the April 8th, 2025 Commission Meeting minutes. Those have already been previewed by all of the board. I'd entertain a motion now to waive the reading of the commission meeting and adopt them as published.
So moved.
It's been properly moved and second by Commissioners Gonzalez and Gross. And so we already have the second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered, motion passes. Hey, we have no service awards this month, so we're going to proceed with the employee and the community recognitions. Ms. Love, Aviles, did I say Love? Is Love here? Luce, I'm sorry. I was
It's okay. I'll take the term of endearment as well with Luz. Thank you, President Mills, commissioners, and good afternoon. One of OUC's strategic pillars is a commitment and support of our community. A primary focus of this support is our environmental stewardship, using our resources and partnership to help protect natural resources. We embrace that stewardship in the community all year round, but especially when we're celebrating Earth Month in April. In last month's commission meeting, we shared an overview of all the way our teams were going to be involved in the community and be active in Earth Day celebrations throughout Orange and Osceola counties. So with that, we'd like to share with you what we accomplished. On the left side, these were the two events we participated in. On the left side was our volunteer event that took place Saturday, April 19th at the Bill Frederick Park at Turkey Lake. This event was in partnership with Keep Orlando Beautiful. And on the right side, that event took place on Earth Day, so Tuesday, April 22nd, where volunteers helped clean up Lake Lorna Dune Park in partnership with Orlando Sports Foundation. Through these events, employees and their families volunteered a combined total of 400 hours. And as you heard our previous person say, we removed a total of over 720 pounds of invasive plants and over 80 pounds of litter from our beautiful natural parks. Our largest event was the cleanup at Bill Frederick Park with 60 employees and their families. It was a great productive day. It was a lot of work, but it was fun, and it certainly benefited the environment. So please take a look at this video so you can learn a little bit more.
We are so excited to be here today for OUC's Earth Month Volunteer Project. We have 68 volunteers comprised of OUC family, friends, and their loved ones. We also have Keep Orlando Beautiful staff out here today.
We're volunteering to remove invasive muscadine grapevines from the trees. They grow rapidly and they take over the native Florida trees, and we're helping to remove them so that the trees are healthier and the wildlife in this area are healthier. So it's hard work, but it's fun.
I have seen more removal and more progress in this one day than I've seen over the course of several of our volunteer projects that we've had over the past couple months. All the volunteers have been really cooperative and really excited. Even though this has been really backbreaking work so far, they've had really good spirits, and it's just been really, really good to see.
I think it's really important to give back, and I know OUC, they talk the talk, but they also walk the walk, and it is important to me to kind of be part of that and be part of a community.
I like giving back to the community, and it's fun, and I feel like I'm actually doing something to, better the world and stuff like that. So, and plus, I'm here with the OUC family, so it doesn't even feel like voluntary. It just feels like I'm playing right now.
I love helping the community. I just love being outside. I just love nature. Just makes me happy to see people working together.
Right. It makes me feel special too. So yeah.
That's awesome. So in total, OUC participated in a dozen Earth Month events across the region. In addition to the two that we just shared with you today, OUC was active in 10 more community events across both Orange and Osceola counties, ranging from student award ceremonies that you see here on the left, all the way to city festivals throughout the town. We recognize the value of giving back to our community through environmental stewardship, and we thank our community partners, OUC employees, and their families who help support OUC's Earth Month events. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's great. And please accept my public apology for butchering your name, so. Okay. We have one other community and employee recognition. Linda, would you come please and bring us our customer champion?
President Mills, Commissioners, and Clint, I am very happy to share with you today that once again, OUC is being recognized for the 2024 Residential Customer Champion. This award underscores our commitment and excellence to engaging our customers in meaningful ways. It's our 8th consecutive year this award. The 2024 residential study on utility trust and customer engagement, it's conducted by Escalant's Cogent Syndicated. It involves nearly 60,000 residential customers from 142 utilities focused on human behavior and analytics. Only 47 of the 142 utilities earned the recognition as customer champions. So I'm proud to say that, as you can see here, OUC scored #1 in electric utilities in Florida and in the Southeast, and #2 in the nation overall. Our peers out in Arizona, Salt River Project, very excellent, large utility we have great respect for, they edged us out. So some additional highlights that I will mention. So the award includes components focused on the engaged customer relationship. So there's a variety of things in here, but the index is made up of 3 primary elements that you can see here: service satisfaction, brand trust, and program experience. Under service satisfaction, OUC continues to score highest in safety and reliability. So customers are particularly satisfied with the variety of ways that OUC provides information during storms and outages. Under brand trust, OUC scores highest related to company reputation, with OUC supporting causes and charities that our customers care about, and is seen as being a well-managed company that keeps its commitments. Under product experience, OUC led the nation in product usage, offering programs considered easy to use that perform well and as promised. So OUC's participated in the Cogent Syndicated Utility Trusted Brand and Customer Engagement Studies since 2016. This, again, marks our 8th consecutive year receiving the award of being the top performer among electric utilities in the South. So we're very proud of that. We've been steadfast in our pursuit of customer-centric practices, and this really does validate that we're on the right track. I do want to express my deep gratitude. This is an OUC-wide award for sure. We all touch the customer. Our entire team shows dedication, professionalism, unwavering commitments to our customers, and that is indeed what makes this achievement possible. So let's continue to prioritize our customer engagement, ensuring that OUC remains a leader in our industry and a champion for our customers for the next 100 years. Thank you.
Thank you. That if we were in a public gathering, we'd get a rousing hand clap. That's amazing. That's amazing. I appreciate that greatly. And as you said, it embodies the entire workforce, but let me say something to each and every one of you. They model their leadership. And so I commend you as a leadership team on setting the example and allowing our employees to rise to the occasion. Thank you so much. As we move to affirmative items now, portion of the agenda, I did have one email that came in. Is there a Mr. Antoine Tucker here? Antoine Tucker. We had received this request to speak on affirmative items, but if he's not here, Mr. Bullock, do you have anyone else? No? All right, then. Well, we will proceed right on then. Do you have any comments or presentations regarding the affirmative items at this time?
Yes, I do, President Mills. There is one item I would like to highlight for the board here today. I'm going to ask Orlando Allen Castro to come up to the podium, please. We're going to speak on, or he's going to speak on, item A12 related to our energy management system replacement project. Give you a bit of an overview of the project and why it's so important for us to move forward based on the requested dollars that we're requesting here today. So Orlando, it's all yours.
All right. Thank you, Clint. Good afternoon, President Mills, commissioners, and Clint. As Clint mentioned, I'm going to give an overview of the energy management system EMS replacement project. So I'm going to start out with just kind of giving a brief overview of who uses the system and why. I'll talk about the EMS, some of the basic functionalities and the background, the history of the EMS at OUC, and then to walk through the procurement process. So at the Pershing Operations Facility, we operate two control centers. One is the ECC, the Energy Control Center, and the second is the DCC, the Distribution Control Center. Within the ECC, and both, by the way, are located at the same facility, they're physically separated by a wall. But within the ECC, the system operators use the EMS to operate the transmission system. They're monitoring the transmission network, and then they're constantly watching the system load and balancing that with the generation resources. They do this 24/7, 365 days a year. They also are the balancing authority agent, the agent for the power pool, and executing the economic dispatching of our generation resources for the pool. We're also the agent for the Centralized Transmission Operation Alliance Agreement, which is the CTOP Alliance, in which we provide bulk electric transmission system or services for KUA KUA Beaches Energy, City of Lake Worth Beach, and for ourselves as well as part of that alliance agreement. This includes staffing the control room, providing control room facilities, ensuring that we're meeting NERC SIP standards, and importantly, part of that is the EMS system as well. Within the Distribution Control Center, the distribution operators are using the EMS to operate the breakers for the feeder circuits that go out to our retail customers. They're also using the EMS for switching and tagging procedures with our field crews to conduct, basically normal operational switching, but also during outage restoration. Some additional users of the EMS system are the transmission planners and distribution planners. In order to operate the grid in real time, you need to have a SCADA system, or supervisory control and data acquisition system. SCADA is essentially the eyes and ears of the grid, and it collects real-time data. This is important because this enables the EMS to use that data to make informed decisions on how to operate the system, but also optimize the energy management of the system. The EMS is essentially the human-machine interface that allows us to operate the breakers and switches remotely. And when I say breakers, I'm talking about the distribution transmission level breakers within the substation. It allows for remote monitoring of the alarms, as well as provides the real-time system status in terms of voltage, current, and power. The EMS also provides for what we call and this is a very important piece, is the automatic generation control, the AGC. This allows for the system operators to maintain balance between generation and consumption. And when I talk about consumption, I mean system load, and adjust the output of the power output of the generators in response to the change in load and maintain system stability. The transmission planners, as I mentioned earlier, they use the contingency analysis feature to be able to do short-term and long-term planning studies. And the EMS also allows us to collect a historical database and maintain that historical database of the metered values from the substation. This is metered values of the transmission and distribution system. So I'm going to do a little quick a quick history overview of the EMS system at OUC. The first EMS system was installed in 1980, and prior to that, it was really a manual process. It required using field personnel to go to the substation and physically operate the breakers and radio back or call back via landline the status of those breakers and the position of them, open or closed, et cetera. So from 1980, fast forward to 2008, that's when we installed the Siemens Power TG system, which we've been running that system here for the last 17 years now. And we've reached the end of useful life for this application. Siemens is no longer providing enhancements. They're not providing any bug fixes. They are providing security patches for vulnerabilities that they have identified, but not for customer generated requests or not for customer identified vulnerabilities. And so with the user group shrinking, Siemens is just not willing to put additional money, support, and fixes into the current application. I will say, though, we've been fortunate that Siemens has been providing this minimum level of support in terms of the patches and not forcing us into a new application, into their new application. But we've reached that point now, that critical point now, where it's time to do a wholesale replacement of the EMS system. So the next couple of slides really just, is to illustrate how antiquated the system looks from an operator's perspective. When I look at this, I think of something that, something out of a movie like Tron or Star Wars. But this is the system overview that the operators see from their console. And then, it's showing, the boxes are showing the substations, and then the lines interconnecting those is the transmission network interconnecting the substations. So if you drill down to the next level view, this is a substation with the 4 transformers. You can see it's very busy, and it's illustrating the transformers, the feeder breakers, and the status of the breakers, and also the status of the voltage and current. As I mentioned, the EMS is critical for remote operations of the breakers, the real-time status of the system, and also remote monitoring of the alarms. But our needs are evolving, and they're evolving with the integration of additional intermittent resources into the generation mix for both OUC and the power pool. As an example, modeling solar into the AGC and growing complexities of managing traditional generation resources in the most economical way across multiple agencies. Our training, simulation modeling, and contingency needs are increasing, as well as our cybersecurity posture with the growing threat of cyber risk and threats. We also need a product really that offers the long-term stability and support for enhancements beyond the minimum security patches that Siemens is currently providing. So to touch briefly on the procurement process, we conducted interviews with multiple utilities to gather information about user experiences and ask questions about functionality. We also onboarded a third-party consultant to help us develop the RFP, but also develop a real robust scope and technical requirements. From there, we issued solicitation for proposals from multiple suppliers. We also extended the deadline for the process just to ensure we weren't missing any suppliers or suppliers didn't miss the opportunity to submit a bid. In all, we received 3 responses. 2 were complete, 1 was incomplete, and the evaluation committee ultimately selected the AspenTech Monarch platform. This is a product of OSI, Open Systems International. And AspenTech really delivered on demonstrating to have the capabilities to meet our technical needs. They were the ones that had the least or limited amount of additional third-party software requirements, and limited exceptions to our technical requirements. I think another one of the selling points or benefits to AspenTech is that other Florida municipal utilities such as KUA, Lakeland, GRU, and JEA use AspenTech. So in order to effectively replace and implement an EMS system, there are some additional system requirements. From a resiliency standpoint, we need new servers, and really we need to build out a redundant system. This is a NERC requirement to ensure that we are maintaining support for critical operations. We also need additional firewalls, switches, and new workstations. This approach allows us to keep the existing EMS functioning and fully isolated from the new EMS while we build and test. It allows us to maintain system stability or system availability and maintain NERC compliance throughout the process. Again, this is a NERC requirement, especially as we get ready to go, when we're ready to commission, we'll have to go through a NERC recertification process. So why is all this important? Why is EMS critical? As I mentioned before, any given day, any given time, the system operators are balancing the system load with generation. And I'm going to take us back to just, August of 2023, we hit a system peak. And that day was particularly interesting because the operators they're monitoring the transmission network, they're monitoring the load. And typically we would see our system peak occur around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon on a summer day. We had several days of high temperatures. And as the solar production, both at our farms and behind the meter, solar production was starting to drop, there was still a climb in the demand, in the load, in the later afternoon hours. System operators have to respond to that. They have to ensure that we have enough generation and ramp up generation to be able to meet that demand. And that was a shift in the peak, in the peak that normally occurs around 4 or 5, occurred around 5 or 6. And so that's just to kind of give you an example of, why that's so important. They can't do that without a fully functioning EMS and the AGC, as I mentioned earlier, the automatic generation control that does that as well. So, the call to action here is, commission approval for the capital expenditure estimate for the EMS replacement project. I do want to highlight that this OUC will receive partial reimbursement from the pool and CTOP members, in accordance to our contractual arrangements. And we're also asking for commission approval of a purchase order to Aspen Tech for the professional implementation services and a separate purchase order to Aspen Tech for software license support and maintenance. And with that, I'll be happy to take any questions.
Questions?
Maybe just a couple additional clarifications. You did a lot of interviewing of other utilities. You mentioned that this is pretty popular across some of the smaller municipalities here, or municipal utilities in Florida. How about LPPC members? Is this pretty broadly used nationally? Maybe one question.
Right. Well, the Aspen Tech platform is used nationally, and OSI, which is really kind of the parent, has a broader, national reach. I'd have to go back and check with the team on which LPPC members, but we'll take that back.
But it's real established, it's vetted, it's.
Yes,
everybody-
absolutely.
Like, it's not like we're not testing something that
Absolutely.
works for a bigger utility, because the ones you mentioned, I think, are pretty
Right.
small. So this sounds like a big deal to transition operating like EMS software in the control control center,
Mm-hmm.
over to an entirely new system. And it starts to sound like the billing system, or the customer
Mm-hmm.
interface system, whatever we did, where I think we did it during the holidays or something. And, by the time folks came back from the holiday, it takes time, you do tabletop exercises, you test this thing backwards and forwards so that the day you push the button,
Mm-hmm.
it works. Am I reading this right? This is a pretty big transition.
This is a huge transition, and that's part of the reason why we have the redundancy that we have to go and acquire new servers, acquire the security, the firewalls and the switches, all the workstations, because we have to run the two systems in parallel
Okay,
and test and
I
go
like
through that.
I like it, you just said that.
The current
Sounds better.
EMS will be there as that failover
Okay.
until we're fully commissioned and gone through the
Okay.
NERC recertification process.
That's also why you're asking for the second bullet to get the services of Aspen to help us with that massive implementation.
Correct. The implementation, and then after that, the other is for the ongoing maintenance and support. I just remembered, Commissioner Gross, one of the IOUs that stands out that I remember as a user is Southern Company.
Okay,
So I'll have to go back and check on the
that's
others.
fine. I'm seeing a lot of heads nodding over here too. There are others. So I don't know that part of the industry. That's good. All right.
You did say JEA is using it.
Yes, correct.
So you have a larger
Yes.
utility utility than OUC using it.
Correct.
This-
JEA
sorry.
is a
Of course,
user.
Southern is.
Right.
Any other questions, commissioners? Clint? Any other
I have
comments?
no other
Thank you.
items to bring to your attention unless commissioners have any questions for me on any affirmative items.
Well, before we vote on the affirmative items, are there any other questions or comments from the public or the commissioners? If not, is there a motion to approve affirmative items A1 through A30?
So moved.
It's been moved by Commissioner Gross. Is there a second? Commissioner Chapin, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Let me just add one comment about 19. I really appreciate that we're looking forward and ordering extra transformers, even though it's not needed because of the long lead time. So I appreciated that, I think it was in A19, that we need a transformer, some of the larger transformers, but we're going to go ahead and order, I think, one extra one too. So wherever that item was, I noticed that. That was good. We're all worried about that. It's good.
Super. If there's no further discussion, we'll take a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, we're ready for new business now. Glenn, are there any members of the public that have asked to speak to us or address us on any new business item that you know of? No? All right. Well, do you have any comments or presentations regarding new business?
I do, President Commissioners. I'm going to ask Chris McCulliam to come up and just give a brief update related to the TrueNet Solar tariff revision. I think he has a slide and wants to give a bit of an overview. So Chris.
Okay, thank you, Clint. Good afternoon, President Mills. Good afternoon, Commissioners. We have one item for you on new business today, and it is a revision to our TrueNet Solar tariff. As you'll recall, back at the December 24th board meeting, you approved the TrueNet Solar tariff with an effective date of July 1st, 2025 as part of the broader peak shift components that we brought to you in December. There are extensive billing system modifications that are needed in order to bill according to the TrueNet tariff, the demand level tariff, the soon to be coming shift and save tariff. All of those billing modifications are currently being worked on by a significant number of employees across the commission. It's an all hands on deck effort right now. But those billing modifications are not expected to be done in time for the effective date of the TrueNet Solar tariff, which is July 1 of 2025. We knew this. We knew that the billing system modifications were going to take longer than July 1st. Our initial plan was to do a manual billing process to implement the tariff, but after we got into a little bit more and learned what was going to be involved in order to do it the right way, it was going to cost more than the revenue we would collect from the manual billing system, and probably more importantly, it was going to cause delays in our implementation efforts for the rest of the peak shift components. So after a lot of discussion internally, we are recommending that between July 1 of 2025 and whenever the billing system modifications are ready, which we anticipate is going to be in March, for that period of time, we will temporarily bill new non-grandfathered rooftop solar customers the same way that grandfathered rooftop solar customers are being billed today. So they will temporarily receive the benefit of full retail value for excess energy that they produce and send to the grid. And then when the billing system modifications are ready, we'll flip the switch and they will then become, they will be credited at the community solar farm rate for 5 years, for the 5-year period, and then the fuel rate thereafter. So there's a short period of time that we will be temporarily extending the full retail credit for excess production. There is a robust communications plan to make sure that there are no surprises when the bill flips in March. So any rooftop solar customer that interconnects that has their application submitted after the cutoff date for grandfathering, we will send them letters, we will send them on-bill notices. They will get multiple touch points from us along the way saying, just as a reminder, beginning in March, the billing system will change, your bill will look a little bit differently, and for this short period of time, you'll be receiving full retail value for your excess energy produced and sent to the grid. So in order to do that, we need to revise the tariff to call out the time period between July 1st and the date that the billing system modifications are ready. You do have a red line and a clean version of the tariff in your sheet. Happy to answer any questions you have on that. But the recommended action is adoption of the proposed TrueNet Solar tariff policy change effective July 1st, 2025, same effective date as the December action, and pending Florida PSC Commission review, which I just heard from my team. We actually have PSC review this afternoon, so they've looked at it, they've looked at our proposed revisions, and they have signed off. So
You said they did that this afternoon?
yes, just the timing was coincidental.
Perfect.
Sorry, they're reviewing it right now?
They're
Or
done.
They gave us feedback?
They've signed off. They've said it's
Oh, they
fine. This red line that you see in your packet has
That
been
doesn't
approved
happen
by
often, that's
PSC.
good timing.
We try to get that done ahead of the board meeting, just in case there's any, we don't want any surprises. If they have any concerns or feedback, we want to be able to address those before we bring something to you. So the team started that process as normal about a month ago, and we got word today that they've approved.
Are there any questions or comments from any of the board? All right, hearing none. If there are no further comments, can we entertain that we have a motion that we adopt the TrueNet Solar? And may we have a second?
Second.
Properly moved by Chapin and Gross, and if there are no further discussion, let's take a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, we continue to move on, Clint, with our presentations, and I believe you're going to just stand right there.
Staying right here.
All right, we'll start off with our financial report.
Thank you, President Mills. Commissioners, in your packet, you have the interim financial report for the 6 months ended March 31st. At the end of March, income before contributions for that 6-month period was $40.4 million, which is slightly higher than budget, slightly lower than the prior year. And then on your screen, we're showing you the most recent numbers. This is as of April. It's the revenue side only. It still takes us a few days to close the expense side of the books, but we are able to show you preliminary revenues for April. Revenues were $3.8 million over budget. That's non-fuel revenues, and that's net of deferrals, as we've mentioned in prior meetings. Same story. It was a cold winter and a warm start to the spring. In addition, on the water side, we had very low rainfall for the first few months of this calendar year, and so we have some higher water revenues as well. The rainy season has started, so we'll see what happens with water revenues, but it's definitely warm. We're getting into that point in our season where the difference between what we anticipate the cooling degree days are and the actuals tend to be a little bit narrower. The summers in recent history have been about the same in terms of warmth and humidity, so it's about the same number of cooling degree days. But as we mentioned to you before, it's really the shoulder seasons, the spring and the fall, that have been have seen more greater variability from the normal pattern. So that's where we've seen our excess revenues. We would anticipate going into the summer, we might still have a little bit of excess revenues into the year, but we would anticipate that they are more closely aligned with what's budgeted. So far, so good. Happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Browder, Chris, any legal issues to report? Always glad to hear that, my friend. All right. All right, we move on with general appearance. To my knowledge, we do not have anyone from the public. We do not. So Clint, we will proceed at this time with general manager comments.
I have a few items I would like to share with the board today. I'm going to start with Janice Osani. She's going to give us an update on the OUC.com website redesign, and one that she's very passionate about and helped us get completed here recently. So Janice.
Good afternoon, President Mills, Commissioners, and Clint. I am very excited to give you an update on the OUC.com website redesign project. The website is a very important tool for us at OUC. It positively impacts customer engagement, satisfaction, communications, and community reputation. A lot of that is because we have over 200,000 visitors, unique visitors, who use the site each month. Our last website redesign took place in 2013, almost 12 years ago. And at the time, we were doing that because we were encouraging our customers to transition from our walk-in centers to using self-service channels or one of our 400 in-person payment options. So it was a big effort, and the focus of the website was to use self-service, to log in and use self-service. So we've continued to advance the site over the years, and in fact, we're still a top performer, often achieving top 5 placement in J.D. Power digital channel satisfaction. However, even so, we felt the time had come once again to evolve how we serve and communicate with our customers on this critical platform. The new redesign project had a goal of creating a more seamless and modern online experience for our customers, and I'll show you some visuals of it later. It allowed us to upgrade an existing end-of-life platform to a new WordPress content management system, and at the same time evolve with some best practices in the digital design, navigation, and mobile optimization space, all of which helps us better support our customers' needs. We had two primary goals and needs for the project, with the first being enhancing the customer experience and the second aligning our digital efforts to align to our strategic priorities. We then had 6 primary objectives, which you can see here on the screen, that guided our path. The first was mobile-first design. More than 70% of the traffic to the site comes from a mobile phone, not from a desktop or a tablet. 70% of people using their smartphones to come and interact with us. So it had to be fully responsive across all devices. The second was to optimize content and content management. So the redesign focused on improving both the quality of the website's content and the system we were using to manage it. We wanted to make it easier for users to find what they needed faster, and for our internal team to keep the site updated with fresh and accurate and relevant content. To best inform us on what content mattered the most, we did do some research. We conducted extensive analysis on customer usage patterns, search engine optimization, and trends around keywords and topics that our customers were using, and we looked for potential content redundancies and gaps. With these insights, we were able to reduce the website from 350 plus pages to just 150 page site. It was a huge efficiency effort. Next, we wanted to continue promotion of self-service adoption and in a way to make it easy for our customers to manage regular and straightforward interactions with us, such as bill payments, start service requests, stop service requests, account updates of their information, things like that. This would continue to improve convenience, customer satisfaction, time efficiency, and reduce calls to the call center or contacts to the contact center. Next was to enhance and promote key programs and services. We collaborated across the commission to prioritize and reorganize and rewrite those 150 pages of content. We ensured that the website truly reflects OUC's overarching goals and effectively informs not just our customers, but all of our different community stakeholders and potential employees about the information they need from OUC. We also improved communications around customer solutions that generate leads and sales, such as our lighting, EV, and chilled water programs through new content and new functionality. And finally, but in no way least, we sought to amplify the power of OUC's brand. We aligned the website design, messaging, and functionality with our established brand guidelines, and the new website presents a unified look and feel that helps build overall brand trust and awareness. 3 key points here. The new site features a sleek, modern look and feel with a more polished professional appearance. It also includes a new structure that's built around a thoughtful content strategy, streamlined navigations so customers can find things quickly and easily. And I want to mention that we did extensive user testing on the site. We actually did 2 rounds of user testing to test our theories and our assumptions to make sure that what is on the site was intuitive to our customers and that they could find the information that they need. Finally, the site is ADA compliant, Americans with Disabilities Act standards. These enhancements make it easy for everyone to access our site. While OUC.com, the last point there, has been available in Spanish for many years, once you log in and you're using the self-service functions, the My OUC portal, that part was not in Spanish. However, through this project, we enabled that feature. And so now when you go to the website, if you go in while you're using Spanish, it keeps the site in Spanish for you, or you can toggle to it while you're within My OUC, which is a great new feature for us. Okay, here you go, big reveal. Oh no. I'm hitting the wrong button maybe, Francis, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Desktop design is here for you. To show you the new streamlined format, let's take a look at the new website here. What you're seeing is the desktop version, and on the right is the supplemental education page on ways to save. Up at the top, you'll see our new mega menu, which is a best practice for navigation. And overall, you can see it helps clean up our brand, our look, and our feel. It also ties with a smoother, more intuitive navigation and overall better user experience. Now, because the primary objective was to improve the mobile experience, I want to make sure you see the mobile look and feel of the website. This is how it appears on a smartphone. This makes it easier for customers to quickly find what they need anytime, anywhere. For this, we focused on simple navigation, clear calls to action, and a clean layout. So you can see as an example, you can easily find pay my bill, report a problem, start, stop, move service, and other key functionalities. This new site launched on April 16th as a result of extensive research and strategic design, and again, multi-department collaboration. Literally every department in the commission has somehow worked on this site, which is, I'm very proud of that. We're just getting the first full month of data back on the website, and I'm thrilled to say that we are already seeing improvements to our stats. For example, our SEO score measuring how well we perform in search engine optimization has already improved. The higher the score, the better the SEO. And I'm thrilled to say that we've seen a 20% increase in that score. We've gone from 68 to 82. So that's a big win for us. Also, as we know that more users are able to access topics and our online customer service form, we've seen an increase in people using our forms online to contact the customer service center. And we've seen more people visiting the OUC careers page. It has gone from under top 10 to being in the top 10 of pages visited. And I know our HR partners are really excited about that part of it as well. So when you get home tonight, please take a moment to browse the site. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear your feedback. We're really proud of it. And I'd like to mention the core team, the digital and marketing team, the omni-channel team, customer experience and customer technology, as well as a PM from the project management team. They've all been a huge help on the core team. And then as I mentioned before, there has literally been a representative from every area of the commission serving on a steering committee, helping to serve as subject matter experts. And we couldn't have done it without them either. So thank you for letting me throw that in at the end. Do you have any questions for me?
No, this is great. Great job.
Thank you very much. We're very pleased with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. I'll ask Kevin Noonan to come up. He's going to attempt to do a little magic and give you a little bit of an overview of federal and state legislation in the midst of all the uncertainty. Recognizing we do not have a June meeting, this is the typical time we try to brief the board on some of the issues that particularly are impacting maybe OUC in the industry. So Kevin's also a solo act today, so he's going to also cover the federal side as well as the piece that he's really close to, which is the state side. So Kevin, up to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Clint. Commissioner Mills, or President Mills, commissioners, thank you. And I will do my best to give you an update of a little bit about what's going on up in both in Washington, D.C. and in Tallahassee. Like Clint said, it's been a little bit of a crazy time in national and state politics, as I'll go through here in a few minutes. On the federal side, kind of just high level overview. Just some of the themes that we're seeing, basically coming out of the executive orders from the current administration, as well as from our large, trade organizations like LPPC and APPA. Some of the themes that we're seeing in the early days of the Trump administration are, kind of commitments to clean air and water, regulatory and permitting reform, making the United States a leader, if not the world leader, in artificial intelligence. And that is important for us because we know that these large AI centers are large users of energy, and there's a national discussion on how to serve them. We're looking at trying to bring back manufacturing, especially auto jobs, to the United States. And the last three kind of touch on the energy industry, infrastructure development and grid modernization, energy security and affordability, and kind of restoring, America's energy dominance, if you will. Those are sort of some of the themes that we're seeing, as this new Congress and new administration starts to get going. And how have they got going? Well, if you've been following the news, everything's been through executive order. So as of yesterday, the president has signed 147 different executive orders, which isn't the best way to run the federal government, and I'll touch on that in a little bit. But it definitely gives his opinion and his direction on where he would like to steer the country and Congress. So some of the ones I want to mention were signed early on in January and February, dealing with energy. And the first thing that he did was he declared a national energy emergency. and he wants to boost fossil fuel development and expedite permitting. Unleashing American Energy, another executive order, was signed focusing on enhancing our domestic energy production, particularly fossil fuels. You've heard some of the sayings out there about, you know, drill baby drill and things like that, and even trying to bring back the coal industry, you know, that appeared to be, you know, waning in recent years. And FEMA, the organization in Washington, is very important to us. And the president signed an executive order to have to evaluate the efficiency, the priorities, and the competence of FEMA. And that's important to us because, as you know, during disasters, you know, OUC has the opportunity to recoup some of those funds from FEMA that flow through the state of Florida, and then we were able to recoup some of those dollars that we spend, you know, putting our electrical system back together after a storm. And then the last one deals on the Council on Energy Dominance, which is a group that's kind of looking on how to, you know, put America first and the global leader in energy. And as you've seen, you know, we're becoming a large producer of natural gas and liquefied natural gas and things like that, things that hadn't been there in the past. So the thing I want to kind of really focus on is it didn't seem like we were in a bad shape in prior administrations, and why are we having this national energy emergency? What's going on there? So the current administration is looking to speed up infrastructure development, transmission, pipelines, and things like that. And so they're trying to expedite that permitting. And how are they going to do that? Well, they're sort of looking to give them a fast pass around some of the current regulatory positions that are already out there, like the Clean Water Act and the Endangered Species Act. Is there a way that you can speed up that permitting process by not having them to go through it so they could build a pipeline or transmission line or other type of energy infrastructure sooner? So in this national energy emergency, they talked about increasing in the refining and production of oil and gas, increased reliance on coal, bringing back nuclear, and making sure we take advantage of existing hydroelectric stations. But what's very interesting, and you know, of I think importance to everyone, is that solar, wind, batteries, hydrogen, and alternative energy sources are nowhere mentioned in this national energy emergency. They've kind of been left to the side, and you can see the pivot that's taken place from the prior administration to this administration, and where things go on that, we're not exactly sure. It definitely has the potential to slow down the installation of renewables on any type of federal lands. And also, we're not exactly sure yet on how this is going to affect renewable incentives and tax-related funding. I'll touch on that in a minute as all of that discussion is going on now in Washington. Also, in this emergency, you know, big attempts to make sure that our electrical system, the bulk power system, is secure by protecting it from both a physical and cyber supply side, and making sure that we don't run into the supply chain issues, you know, similar to the ones that we had during the pandemic. So when a new administration comes in Washington, it's not, you know, uncommon to see a bunch of executive orders be signed, you know, setting the tone for where the administration wants to go. And what usually happens behind that is Congress will come and they will start passing laws to some extent that start putting the president's policy actions into motion. We haven't really seen anything like that yet because there's other things that are sort of taking up all the oxygen in the room, if you will. Also, the federal agencies would typically start the rulemaking process, the ones that fall under the executive branch of government, so the Department of Energy, the Department of Defense, the Department of Education, and things like that would start putting the rulemaking, you know, in process to fall in line with the president's executive orders. We haven't seen a whole lot of that. And why? Well, right now they're really mired down in the budget. You know that there's a large fight, and this, you know, kind of is indicative of what's going on in Tallahassee as well. What type of tax package are we going to have? Where are the budget cuts going to be? Where are the tax, you know, changes going to be? And so you have a Republican House and Senate that are held by razor-thin margins, trying to figure out how to get that budget package across the line without losing any votes, and it's going to be a tough challenge. They've also been focused on a lot of other things, such as confirmations, a lot of foreign policy events, immigration events, and of course, not a lot of rulemaking taking place at a lot of these agencies, because a lot of these agencies have lost a lot of staff. Have you seen the current administration's attempt to bring newfound efficiency into the federal government with the Doge group doing their thing up there? So that's kind of where we stand in Tallahassee and Washington, D.C. If we can get past, I think if they can get past the budget issues, I think you'll start to see more action come out of Congress with regards to the laws coming forward, and then some of the rulemaking coming out of the federal agencies. So although we have a lot of the intent of what the administration wants to do, we have not seen it backed up in law or rulemaking yet. And switching over to something a little bit closer to home, but also with some similarities to what's going on up in Washington, is what's going on up in Tallahassee. So the legislative session in Tallahassee started this year on May 2nd, and it was supposed to run till May 12th. Well, they ran into some problems up there in that the governor and the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate do not agree on a tax package and a budget for the state. So the legislature has one job, and one job only when they're in Tallahassee for the legislative session, and that is to pass a balanced budget. And they couldn't do it. They do not agree on both tax and budget issues. So what happened? So although about 2,000 bills were filed, we saw a lesser number of bills actually pass through the process this year, and only 19 bills have been sent to the governor so far. Right now, there are no bills on his desk waiting for his approval. So what's going on? Despite the supermajorities, there's been a lot of infighting in the Republican Party up in Florida. It's been playing out on the news. It's been very public. The budget and tax relief issues, of course, and you've seen the Hope Florida inquiry, as well as the Senate pushing back on a lot of the confirmations that the governor would like to put on various boards throughout the state. So what happened is now we're sort of in an extending session that may run through May and even into June. So different priorities. I think the House and the Senate are about $4.4 billion apart on their top line budget numbers. And without getting that in place, and the major differences on the House wanting a sales tax reduction, and the Senate wanting to be conservative, and the governor wanting massive property tax reductions, they're not on the same page, and they haven't been able to get things done. So some of the themes and issues that we're seeing out of Tallahassee, I mentioned the tension between the governor, the House, and the Senate, the differences on the budget. We saw some issues related to kind of employment-related issues with child labor law and minimum wage and E-Verify. Those all went down this year and nothing moved forward. School start times and cell phone use. The high school folks are still going to have to go to school early in the morning now, and no cell phones in elementary and middle schools. One of the top priorities of the President of the Senate was his rural renaissance to rejuvenate agricultural and rural areas. Is sort of in limbo. The House is holding that up kind of as a budget hostage, so that didn't go anywhere. And we've continued to see continued local government preemptions coming from Tallahassee on a number of different issues, one of which I'll touch on. We have some of the things that we have seen kind of move through. We have seen some relief for condo associations in light of the condo collapse down in South Florida a few years ago. So they've given condo associations some extra time to get their studies done and reserves built up. There won't be any hotels or golf courses or pickleball courts built in our state parks. The House has put a new committee into place that's actually looking at property tax options moving forward. Actually, they're meeting right now as we speak up in Tallahassee. And a comprehensive hurricane bill was passed to bring relief, response, and recovery after the devastating storms of the 2024 hurricane season that hit the West Coast. And already signed by the governor is a law that passed that will make it harder for citizen-led initiatives to be put on the ballot to change our Constitution moving forward. So what were we following? What was the most important to OUC as we move forward? I'm going to touch on 4 different bills that we were tracking very, very closely and were involved in. But sometimes it's important to know what didn't pass or what didn't happen in Tallahassee. So unfortunately, no real solution for EVs to contribute to the State Transportation Trust Fund. I think everyone that owns an EV wants to pay their fair share and make sure they're contributing to our roads since they use them. That got kind of mired in the budget issues because it's a taxing issue. No real cybersecurity legislation this year, and they were talking about giving liability protection to local governments. No pro-climate initiatives, anything on renewables, solar, carbon sequestration. Although the bills were filed, they never moved anywhere. No significant water-related legislation with direct impacts to OUC. I'm going to put a little caveat on that one. Nothing related to water kind of quantity or quality issues as it comes out of the ground. And usually there's quite a few of those type of bills, looking at alternative water sources and how to treat water and things like that. No changes at the Public Service Commission. And in multiple years, we've had issues related to others attaching to our utility poles. Nothing like that happened this year. So what I do want to mention is probably one of the bills that I think everyone in the utility space was very happy to work on, was a bill that increased the criminal penalties for anyone that commits assault or battery on a utility worker. You'll remember last year when I was up here speaking, we had a bill that actually increased the criminal penalties on anyone that intentionally tried to destroy our infrastructure, whether it be a power plant, a water plant, a substation, or a transmission tower. Remember, there were several incidents all over the country where people were shooting into substations and breaking into water plants. So this year, that bill passed this year. Another unfortunate trend nationwide is people going after and hurting utility workers while they're out in the field doing their job. There's been a number around Florida, some pretty close to home, of issues. And so this will actually increase those penalties on anyone that commits assault or battery on a utility worker, while they're working in uniform on our infrastructure. And it's not just electric water utilities. Everyone was behind this, gas, wastewater, telecom, cable. There was a broad coalition, and this one, pretty much passed unanimously. And so this one will go into effect. It'll be waiting on the governor's signature. So one of the more interesting bills this year is the bill related to the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. It was dubbed the Farm Bill. It really should have been called the Fluoride Bill, because although this bill was 110 pages long and dealt with everything from 4-H clubs to everything related to agriculture, what got all the press and all the time in the committee meetings was about 5 lines in the bill that would preclude municipal utilities from adding fluoride to the public water supply. So there was quite a lot of debate from the, different sides, whether it was the dentists or folks who didn't feel that, that mineral should be added to the water system. In the end, the entire bill passed. That will essentially, by July 1st, if the governor signs the bill, and he has indicated that he will prevent any municipal water utility in the state from adding fluoride to the water supply. Florida would become the second state after Utah to go down that road, and I know there's a few other states that are looking at that as well. Also buried in that bill is an opportunity for the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services to buy land that solar farms are on if it was formerly in agricultural use. So if the utility wanted to sell a solar farm 20 or 30 years into the future, the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services wants first dibs on the offer to buy that land so they could put it back into agricultural use. And also in there was some language that codified the recently adopted EV rules for the state of Florida that also came out of the Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. So it was a big bill. The highlight was dealt with fluoride, and it looks like that's going to the governor's desk and will be signed. A couple of other things I'll mention here. One that did not pass is I've been here before and I've told you about the annual, I can call it the annual Municipal Utility Services Bill or Municipal Utility Bill. This is one of those preemption bills where the state is basically trying to tell municipalities, municipal utilities, how they have to run their utilities, especially related to their financial operations, limiting transfers to general funds for extraterritorial customers, limiting surcharges, and actually requiring an additional set of public meetings and reporting to the Public Service Commission. Although the bill moved all the way through the House this year, once again, we were able to keep it at bay on the Senate side, and it did not pass. It will be back again next year. Much like the next bill I'm going to talk about is the Sovereign Immunity Bill. It was titled Suits Against the Government. This is when someone files a lawsuit against the government, state or municipality. Right now, those lawsuits are limited to $200,000 per person or $300,000 per incident. The trial bar is very interested in raising those numbers. This year, they settled on $500,000 per person and $1 million per incident. Those numbers have been all over the place. Again, this year, it did not move forward. The legislature does not like, if a person sues the government over those amounts, it requires a claim bill to go to the legislature, and you have to take your case if you're suing someone for $5 million, and it has to be approved by the legislature before the local government can pay out those funds. So it didn't move forward this year, but again, it will be back again next year. So where we stand right now is it looks like we're in extended session for the next couple of months as they try to work out a budget. There's a few policy issues that are still floating around, like the rural renaissance and any language directly related to the budget, especially things that deal with like education and social services and healthcare that are tied directly to budget funding for things like Medicare and things like that. So most of the, 99.9% of the policy making is done, and it's just settled in on budget right now, and they're trying to figure out how they can all come together and get that done by July 1st when the new state budget starts. If they can't, it would be a first time ever, I think, that the state of Florida would have a government shutdown, which I don't think they'll let that happen. But it's Tallahassee, never say never. So that's kind of an update on what's kind of going on in DC and Tallahassee. And if you have any questions, I can certainly try to answer them at this time.
Sorry, what was you said, you showed, and I thought I heard you say you were going to get back to it, but the continued local government preemptions,
Mm-hmm.
what is that, then how does that, you said that, but I'm not sure I saw what examples there were of the preemptions of local.
One is the municipal utility bill, where you got Tallahassee trying to tell
Okay.
a local municipal utility how to run their, or maintain their financial operations.
Like the cap on the train
There's
services
been
stuff.
issues related right here in Orange County related to the rural service boundary. Whether or not development can take place inside or outside, basically outside the rural service boundary. So you have the state saying, well, if someone comes in and they meet these parameters, yes, they can. And you have the county back here saying, well, that's our urban service boundary. We don't want development to go out there. We need it to infill. And then there's been issues, related to straws, paper bags, impact fees, even the school starting times and things like that. So there's a lot of those issues that go on. Every year, it seems like the power of the cities and the counties is being slowly chipped away by the state.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just add one thing, Commissioners, just again in closing here on the fluoride. So we'll continue to monitor, the governor and signing the bill. Long as he signs that bill, let's say by June 25th, we will absolutely be in compliant by July 1st. I anticipate he will sign it before that date. Attila's team, we don't need any additional action by the board. Attila's team, they know what they need to do. And within, again, 3 to 5 days, that we will be back to the naturally occurring fluoride that's in all of our water systems. But rest assured, we will not be adding any additional, and we'll be in full compliance. We'll keep you informed as we get the official, and we'll send you a Commissioner FYI. But Attila, can you speak to, or Brad, can you speak to what's naturally occurring and then what we add? Kind of a two-part question there, Brad. So what's naturally occurring and what do we add?
Right now, naturally occurring is 1.4 milligrams per liter, and that's over all 6 of our water plants.
Okay.
And we're adding 0.7 milligrams per liter, 0.7.
And that's the limit that has been set.
That's what's recommended by CDC.
Correct. So we'll just remove that portion and have some naturally occurring. There are some folks that have some naturally occurring above that limit, correct? And so
Yes,
don't know, are they
some in
safe?
Florida are up
Some
to a little over 2 parts per million.
natural?
Yeah, and EPA recommends anything between 2 and 4, you notify your customers. Anything over 4 has to be removed. Okay.
So that is the fluoride and legislative update. Thank you, Kevin. I'm going to try to end on some brighter notes here, if that's okay, Commissioners. There was a couple items I do want to just share with you on the positive side. So they're going to tee up a slideshow, and I'm just going to talk through a couple items here. But last month, President Mills and I had the opportunity to be a part of the grand opening and the ribbon cutting of OUC's largest solar project. It was 2 different locations, Harmony 2 Solar Energy Center and the Story Bend Solar Energy Center. Obviously, that's a big part of our plan as we talk about, path to clean energy and advancing solar. I'm really excited for OUC from a standpoint that we were able to get this project in before these uncertainties that we're dealing with the federal government, whether it's tariffs, whether it's tax credits going away or what have you. We're just very fortunate, and sometimes timing is just good to have good timing. Next slide. So this just gives you kind of an overview of some of the photos there that take place there. That's Harmony 2 down there in the bottom center. I think that's actually an actual photo of the sun rising of one of these projects, so that's just not stock photo. There we are again with some ribbon cutting. We also had the opportunity, we had representative of the city of St. Cloud was there, which was great. And then we had 2 of OUC's large customers were there. Advent Health and Comcast NBC Universal were also there and joining in and participating in Solar Sun Choice program. I'll talk a little bit more about that. The combined project is 149 megawatts. So this really does move the needle for OUC, these 2 combined projects. Together it's about 1,200 acres. Our portfolio now takes us to about 271.5 megawatts. Don't want to leave that 0.5 out. That's about 50,000 typical residential customers. That takes our portfolio just north of 10%, so about 11% is solar from our overall portfolio. So certainly excited about that in this project. Next slide. Just to orient you just a little bit, you'll see there in the legend, the green stars are the existing projects that were done around 2020. That's the Taylor Creek and Harmony 1. And then late 2024, December 2024, they came online. You can see Story Bend and Harmony 2 where those are located. So again, pretty exciting for us. Last slide. And then this just highlights again the partnership with these 2 large key customers in our community. It continues to reinforce that our commercial customers are looking for solutions. They're looking for opportunities within their own portfolio. Just to give you some additional data, Advent Health will offset about 50% of their energy consumption within the OUC service territory. We know they're a very big entity, but for the facilities in our territory, what they were decided to purchase was about 50% of their overall energy consumption. And then on the Comcast NBC Universal, it's about 30% of Universal Studios. We sense there'll be some more conversations before too long. Perhaps maybe the opportunity to want to grow that. This is offered to other commercial customers, other residential customers. We still have about 60% available for folks to subscribe as they want to think about making program advancements for themselves. I think just in closing here, as you think about our vision statement and you think about partner of choice and innovative solutions, I think Sun Choice is a perfect example. They could have self-performed, they could have partnered perhaps with someone else. They have options, and there's other things they could have done. So I'm appreciative to all the hard work of the OUC team and listening to our customers and coming up with a solution was really the driver. Those really 2 large ones that moved us down this path of coming up with this, Sun Choice program. So it's pretty exciting. Again, it was great to see them on site for the ribbon cutting, and again, it just shows just another example of our partnership with our key customers. And again, this is open to large, medium, and small commercial customers, residential customers, et cetera, and we still have more available. So any questions, I'll answer those. And if not, yes,
Maybe
yes,
just,
please.
just a
Yes.
clarification. Did you say that 11% of our fuel mix now is solar?
Yep.
How is that measured then? Is that like of a peak day?
From an energy standpoint.
Of all the capacity that we have, 11% can be solar.
So, again, we're moving the needle.
It's a lot. I mean, I think I remember when we were at 1.5% solar, like that's.
Those 4 projects really helped move us along, right? Prior to that, we had, the 2 different projects at Stanton, the Kashonic Farm, and then prior to that, we did the very first one in Orange County We did that partnership with another entity, but those are the first ones, and it takes a while to sort of gain that experience and find the economics, and of course, the commitment we had in 2020 related to our strategic plan really helped sort of drive us forward and continue down this path. So we're making good progress. The timing's good. We don't have to race out and do anything at the moment on solar. I think energy storage is going to be our next sort of focus, figuring out how to grow that. And we've got the one pilot project the team's working on, and at some point we'll come back and give the board an update. That's down at Sub 29 down in St. Cloud. Still working through some of the bugs of a new project, a pilot project, but I'm anxious to get that one integrated into the system and turned over to the ECC system operators to actually be able to use that as designed to balance our system, et cetera. But we're hopeful in the future we'll see the growth in energy storage will be that next piece. But good update. Good to have those projects done. Again, a lot of hard work internally. Just want to share that with the board. And then lastly, I'll just close with commissioners. Perhaps you saw when you came into the board meeting. Perhaps you recall Letitia gave a presentation last year during Veterans Day. But we know we're celebrating Memorial Day here in May. We have the missing table display as you come into the commission room. So if you didn't see it on your way in, perhaps on your way out, if you want to take a moment, it's just extremely important to make sure we continue to honor our veterans. And certainly we do it as part of, as we kick off our meeting and we do the pledge, we always work to have veterans participate in that. We have over 10% of our employees are veterans. They've made tremendous amount of sacrifices for this country. The bravery and the honor they have, we need to always be celebrating them. And we certainly know that some made it back, and unfortunately some have not. And I think that's exactly what the missing table is about, to really just honor those that did not make it back. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and as we think about Memorial Day coming up this month, and if you haven't had a moment, take a look at it. Letitia's team again set it up, and it's something we should all pause and reflect on. So with that, that's my last and final.
All right, thank you, Clint. All right, commissioners, let's have your final comments, starting with Commissioner Gross.
Just thank you for all the hard work and the updates today. Love the solar update. I actually missed sort of that was happening already. That's terrific. And appreciate the proactiveness of the group to pre-order transformers and the belt and suspender approach to running the two management systems over at the control center. It's like an obvious answer. Like, well, I'm glad you thought of it because I didn't think how you do that. It's very good. So thank you again for a great meeting.
Hard work. I love everything you do in the community. You are, and we are, really represented well in Community OUC, and that really is not only good for the brand, but good for the community, so thank you. And I'm also very excited to see that it only took 17 years to upgrade a system. Not bad. No, really good. Good luck with that.
Great meeting, thank you.
All right, listen, I want to again commend all of you, and I echo Clint. Please look at the missing table. The design of that is awesome and amazing and humbling, and so I exhort you to make sure you stop by there. Again, Jenny's congratulations and great effort with the team. Kevin, where is Kevin? Oh yeah. Thank you. That was in-depth and very knowledgeable. And listen, just so you know, when you saw Commissioner and I laughing a little bit there, she was just explaining to me, if you don't mind me sharing, all right, that, yeah, fine time to ask, right? We were sharing about what our summer plans are, and she's taking a month off to just relax and free her mind from Washington, OUC, everything else. And when you got up and I had seen your pitch, I leaned over and told her, you're gonna need 2 months when he's done. So that's what we were giggling about. But I thank you for that in-depth study, and to everyone here, this was a great meeting. Thank you all for your effort, and I meant what I said about the employees resemble their leadership. And you guys keep leading like you're doing, and we'll keep getting the accolades for our employees. Thank you, Clint, once more and again. All right, it is exactly 3:20. Without objection, the meeting is adjourned.